Now, Danda, the review. I could have dropped this review last week, but I wanted to sit with it for a little just so I could let it digest and make up my mind about it. I definitely have a lot of things to say about this album, by the way. It's obviously one of the biggest releases of this year, if not the biggest, right next to COB, so this review is a must. By the way, I will be dropping a COB review as well, just wanted to get this Donda review out of the way, so if you don't want to miss that, turn on the notifications. And also, it's definitely been a little while since I've dropped an album review, so how about a little like for your boy, if you want to like the video. Yeah, you can do what you want. Anyway, let me not waste any more time and yeah, Donda. Let's talk about it. Now, Donda, how about we go over it track by track? I give my take on every single song on here, and then at the end, I'll give my verdict on it. Sounds good? Alright, starting with the intro, which is the Donda chant. You know, Donda, 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 Donda. Danda. Now, my first time listening to the intro had me asking, what the fuck is this and what's going on here? Kinda felt bad after finding out that the Donda chant represents Kanye's mother's last heartbeats before she passed. So that's the meaning behind the intro. Again, I kinda felt bad for questioning it prior to finding out what the purpose of it was. I guess there's not much to say about it though, since it is a chant, not really a song. Although I do think it would have sounded kinda hard with an instrumental. No cap. Anyway, moving on to the first actual song, which is Jail. Now, Jail is a song that promises momentum, but doesn't deliver on that end. If you've heard the song, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Kanye is singing and singing while the beat, it sounds like is building up, but that's not what happens. At around the 2-minute 40-second mark, Jay-Z comes in, who's featured on the record, and Jay kinda comes in and brings a little bit of novelty to the song. That's one reason why I appreciated his contribution to this one. This is one of those songs on the album I believe would have sounded very unfinished hadn't it been a feature on it. This is mainly the case due to the fact that Kanye sounds like he's repeating the same hook all throughout the entire song. Had I not looked up the actual lyrics to the song on Genius, I would have never known that this record even had an actual verse. On a musical level, it sounds very repetitive since the beat doesn't change until the very end. This song does have a very powerful instrumental, but I think more could have been done on it. The instrumental is the highlight of this record if you ask me. Overall, wasn't too crazy about this song at all. Moving on to the next song, which is God Breathe. On this song, Kanye is telling the listener to put your faith in God and it'll all end up okay. He's very much emphasizing that throughout the song, like on his part when he says, "Don't care what you say, nothing on me. I don't care about the lawyer fees. I don't care about the royalties. God will solve it all for me." He's firmly taking a stand against anything or anyone who's against him. The title of the song is God Breathe, and the instrumental itself sounds like God is breathing, or it sounds like Kanye is trying to depict what God's breath would sound like on a record, I should say. Kanye is a man of faith, and that does really come out on this song. An artist by the name of Vori is featured on this song, and he has a really dope contribution to it. Beautifully sounding vocals, really beautiful, and Vori was echoing the same message Kanye had, which is put your trust in God. This song is over 5 minutes long, by the way, but it pretty much ends at the 3-minute mark. Everything we hear from that point forward is just the instrumental. So I definitely want to say that this song sounds unfinished, considering the fact that it's 2 minutes of straight instrumentals starting from the 3-minute mark. With that being said, beautiful concept, and I think this was a very well written song. Definitely gave me Yeezus vibes, especially with the screeching vocals that are relayed all throughout it. Moving on to the next song, which is Off the Grid. Now, this shit right here, this is my shit. Definitely one of my favorite ones from the project. What can I say? It is a banger. Fabio Foreign, who's featured on here, had a crazy good verse. I mean, that man was rapping like his life was dependent on it. He went absolutely ballistic. Cardi's verse still throws me off a little. I don't think the baby voice Cardi's doing goes too well with this hard-ass drill beat that both Fabio and Kanye bodied. Cardi's feature is really short though, so overall, I love this one of the better moments from Donda. Moving on to the next song, which is Hurricane. Hurricane is also another great song. It has 2 features on it, Lil Baby and The Weeknd. Honestly, I never thought a Kanye, Lil Baby, and The Weeknd collab would sound so good. Very weird collab since they're all so different, but I think they made it work. Kanye with his verse, it sounds like is picking up from where Lil Baby left off. Wouldn't say that he was feeding off of Lil Baby's energy since Baby didn't go into this one with a lot of energy at all. Kanye, on the other hand, is very on point. He sounds very sharp on a rapper level. The Weeknd's contribution was great too. It created a lot of contrast between Kanye and Lil Baby's verse. Moving on to the next song, which is Praise God. Another song which is just whatever Future said. Sensational. I was really vibing with this one a lot. This song goes absolutely crazy, okay, on speakers, by the way. Let me just put that out there. Probably one of my favorite instrumentals on Donda. Travis Scott was featured on this one, and he did his thing. He killed this shit. Just like Travis did on Fair Trade with Drake from COB, he captured the atmosphere of this beat and just this entire record overall to a T. Baby Keem had a really cool contribution to this one as well. His verse started off just okay, which is why I wasn't expecting him to go as hard as he did. This is one of those songs that I wasn't too crazy about when I heard it for the first time. I gotta give all credit to Travis and Keem for making me realize how dope of a song this really is. Moving on to the next song, which is Jonah. This song reminded me a little bit of Say You Will from 808s and Heartbreak, which is my favorite Kanye album. The instrumental is definitely a little reminiscent of it, that's for sure. Vori is featured once again, and so is the boy Durkio. I wasn't too crazy about this song at all, nothing mind-blowing. The highlight for me was the instrumental and that Vori contribution. He's extremely dope, by the way. His vocals are crazy. I was messing with that Durk feature too now that I think about it. He had a really memorable line where he said, "Died with his chain on, I call it blood diamonds." That shit was hard. Moving on to the next song, which is Okay Okay. This song was okay, no pun intended. Don't really have much to say about this one, by the way, and for the record, everything from this point on I wasn't too crazy about. The first half of this project, or should I say the first 5 records, they're all great and they're all amazing, and that's probably where you'll find all of my favorite records from the project. Okay Okay had a Yachty feature, which was alright. I don't think Lil Yachty went too crazy. He had a decent verse if you ask me. Chicago rapper Ruga's verse, on the other hand, that was hard. I like that. Now moving on to the next song, which is Junior. Now this song right here got really annoying because Kanye kept on saying I don't know what everybody else thinks about this one, but that got annoying as hell. Not sure if I would feel different about the song if the wasn't in it. Apart from that, I can definitely hear the song being, I don't know, like a record that the radio picks up. It's a feel-good kind of track. A big part of that is due to the instrumental and how much fun Kanye sounds like he's having on it. Moving on to the next song, which is Believe What I Say. This was a very memorable track for me. It sounded funky as hell. Kanye was really vibing with the beat. His vocals were super infectious on this one. Another one of those feel-good type of records. The song reminded me a little bit of a classic Kanye record, which is stronger with the way the beat was flowing. Moving on to the next song, which is 24. Now this song was beautiful, man. Kanye was really just singing his heart out throughout the entire song. It's up, everything is gonna be alright kind of vibe, if you know what I mean. He embodied that vibe and atmosphere extremely well, especially with the way he was singing. These are probably some of the most hard-hitting vocals I've heard from Kanye in a while. I really enjoy this song. The choir on it wrapped everything together in one beautiful sounding package. Powerful record, man, very powerful. Moving on to the next song, which is Remote Control. This one had a really strange flow to it, and it was more Kanye adapting himself after the instrumental. Melodically, it was on point, and I think Thug had a dope contribution to it. I'm gonna be honest, if it wasn't for Thug, I don't think I would have liked the song. I don't think Kanye alone did this instrumental justice, but Thug came in, added a little bit of spiciness to the record, and he made it a dope song. Moving on to the next song, which is Moon. Don Toliver deserves a goddamn medal for his performance on this. Listening to him sing like that took me to a whole nother dimension. I mean, I could have sworn I was on some good ass shrooms listening to this. Kid Cudi had a great feature on this one as well, and just like Don Toliver, he did a great job on it. It goes without saying, but without these two features, this song would have never been what it is. Kanye's contribution to it is the last thing on my mind after hearing this. I'm actually very impressed, by the way, with how Kanye managed to bring out the best of every single artist who's featured on Donda, and that really shows on a song like Moon. Moving on to the next song, which is Heaven and Hell. This record was a breath of fresh air. It almost feels strategically placed right in the middle of the album because it just sounds different. The way Kanye was flowing throughout the song, very infectious, and I'd say that the flow was most definitely the hook factor. This song also had a very cool build-up that caught me off guard. The beat drops extremely hard at around the 1 minute and 14 second mark, which gives this record a very different atmosphere starting from that point. Moving on to the next song, which is Danda. This is not really a song, sounds more like an interlude to me. This one mainly consists of Kanye's mother speaking about Kanye himself throughout the record. It has a beautifully sounding choir in the background, which I enjoy listening to. Again, it's not really a song, more like an interlude. So yeah. Moving on to the next song, which is Keep My Spirit Alive. Don't have much to say about the song or anything for that matter, honestly. I don't know. I just listened to the song and I really didn't feel anything. So you know what, let's just jump over this one. Moving on to the next song, which is Jesus Lord. The song is essentially Kanye spitting his heart out for like 8 minutes straight. Very long record. A lot of heartfelt bars on here, a lot of Kanye reminiscing about his past, a lot of pain bars, and Kanye speaking to God through this record. The most bar heavy song on Donda, that's for sure. Moving on to the next song, which is New Again. Another song that I'm very indifferent towards. It's far from one of the better songs on here. I do really like the instrumental here, which Chris Brown does some heavy work on with his feature. A very consistent theme on this album is all the artists who are featured doing really good on those features. Some of them even making the song what it is, like Don Toliver and Kid Cudi on Moon. As far as this song though, wouldn't really lose any sleep if it got deleted from the project. Moving on to the next song, which is Tell the Vision. Now this song is essentially just a garbage sounding version of another song by Pop Smoke titled Tell the Vision, so with the same title. Honestly, man, I'm not sure if Kanye even listened to it before he put it on his album. It's supposed to be a tribute to Pop Smoke, which, hey, I respect, but at least have it mixed properly. Kinda disrespectful to Pop Smoke if you ask me. Anyone who's listened to the original Tell the Vision, which both Kanye and Pusha T are featured on, will agree with me. This sounds horrible, and I can't believe it's on an album. Anyway, moving on to the next song, which is Lord, I Need You. This is a love song right here, and I think it's the only lovey-dovey romantic record on here. This song is kinda cheesy though, not in a good way. I'm not a fan of this one, just another song that I'm very indifferent towards. Wouldn't lose any sleep if it got deleted from the album either, and yeah. Moving on to the next song, which is Pure Souls. Now we're talking. Do you guys know how hard it is to talk about a song you don't like? I feel like I haven't been too enthusiastic about the last couple songs, and I know damn well you could hear that in my voice. Pure Souls is an amazing record though. And no, I'm not saying that because, you know, I'm featured on it. This might be one of my favorite features on Donda, right next to Don Toliver, who sounded like a damn angel on Moon. Roddy was in his little, or should I say, big bag on this one. Kanye was definitely feeding off of Roddy's energy, and Ye just picked up from where Roddy left off and kills his feature as well. Favorite part on this song is when Kanye says, I can give $1 to every person on earth, and then Kanye says, man, I swear these boys keep playing, and then the 808s are going crazy. He continues and says, we gonna have to square up then, okay? Something about just, that part is addictive as hell. I don't know what it is. It just sounds amazing. Anyway, moving on to the next song, which is Come to Life. I feel like the song is kinda underrated, man. Like he did on a song 24, Kanye is singing his heart out, and he does it beautifully. Just an all-around great performance vocally from Kanye. He quite literally comes to life on here and pours his pain all over this instrumental. Moving on to the next song, which is No Child Left Behind. Now this song sounds kinda unfinished to me. I'd say that the instrumental takes up at least 50% of the song's duration, which is a lot, so there's not a lot of actual vocals that fill up the song. This is just one of those songs that I personally kind of look at as an interlude, and also Kanye is barely heard on his song. The featured artist, Vori, is pretty much the main act on here. With that being said, I'm feeling indifferent towards this one as well, so yeah. Moving on to the next song, which is Jail Part 2. Now this is just an alternative version of the song Jail with Jay-Z, so it's pretty much the same exact song, but it has two features on it, DaBaby and Marilyn Manson. DaBaby's verse was kind of fire, I can't even lie, and he actually responded to the whole controversy regarding what he said when he was performing on stage. Bet you haven't forgotten about that situation. I made like 10 different videos on it, you better not. I don't really have that much to say about the song. I mean, it is an alternative version of another song, although I gotta say, I prefer the original one with Jay-Z. Moving on to the next song, which is Okay Okay Part 2. Another alternative version of an existing song on a project. I was really caught off guard by how dope that Shansia, I think that's how you say it, feature was. She's an artist out of Jamaica who was rapping in patois. She was flowing like crazy on this record, and this feature was the only difference on the alternative version. Moving on to the next song, which is Junya Part 2. Here's another alternative version of an existing song, and you already know how I feel about the original. So yeah, let's move on to the next song, which is actually the last song, and that is Jesus Lord Part 2. Another alternative version of an existing record. This is just an extended version of the original one with a couple features slapped on it. This alternative version is actually longer than the original one, which was 8 minutes. Now my attention span is pretty damn good, but 11 minutes? That's like an entire Lil Pump album. Now to the verdict. My final thoughts on Donda. Do I think it's a good album or what? First of all, Donda is an album that I personally don't think I'll be going back to too much. If you've been paying attention to this review, then I think it's pretty obvious that I was really enthusiastic about a third of this album, and the remaining I wasn't too excited about. The way I look at this project is this. Donda is an album that in theory, as an idea and a concept of an album, it's great. Absolutely great. But judging the final result, this album as a full body of work, as a collection of songs, I have a hard time loving this album for what it is. I think the amount of empty space Donda has is an issue. When I say that, I'm referring to the lack of vocals there is on some of these songs. God Breathe and No Child Left Behind are two great examples of what I'm talking about. There's just too many songs on Donda that kinda left me wanting more, especially vocally speaking, from Kanye himself. I really don't mind an instrumental being the highlight of a song from time to time, but when I leave multiple songs asking myself, is that it? It is a problem. I also feel like I didn't get enough of Kanye himself. As I'm sitting here thinking about Donda as a project, the features are a big highlight of it, and I'm asking myself, what if this album has 0 features? Would Kanye then be able to fill out the gaps the features would end up leaving and actually do a great job at carrying the project from start to finish? With that being said, although I have a hard time loving this album, it's kind of hard for me to not appreciate the music that's on it. From a musical standpoint, despite things like the empty space I was talking about, it sounds strategically put together. If you like Donda for what it is, you're gonna love this album from top to bottom. As for me, I'm leaving the album with a lot of doubts, a lot of questions about whether or not the album as a whole is gonna grow on me. One thing I know for sure is at the moment, I'm really loving about a third of the album, and the rest, not so much. There you have it. But yeah, the Donda review. Certified Lover Boy next. Let me know if you want that by liking this video if you enjoyed it. With that being said, Danda, what do you think about the album? Any thoughts on it as a whole? I bet you have a thing or two to say about it. So yeah, definitely let me know in the comment section. But let's talk about this.